before we go on, if Commissioner Fields don't care, I'd like to go ahead and say a little prayer for Summerwells. She's still missing, and I'd like to just go ahead and open up the meeting by doing that.
I can do it, sir.
Please stand.
Lord, we thank you. We thank you, Lord, for all you do for us. We thank you, Lord, for guidance, and we ask for guidance. We thank you for peace. We thank you for love. We thank you for forgiveness. Lord, we ask you right now to keep your healing hands and your arms around little Miss Summer wherever she's at, and not just her, Lord, but all the people that this happens to way more often than never should happen. But Lord, we ask you to wherever she's at, lean down on her, Lord, and let her smile. Let her see a face, Lord. Let it be yours, if nothing else. We ask you to be with us, go with us to this meeting. Again, we ask you for guidance, and we ask you for forgiveness where we forget to ask. Forgive us our sins and many shortcomings. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Our large-scale Beach Creek operation, which still continues, the initial call came out for that on June 15th. Some questions on that we obviously won't be able to answer at this time due to that being an ongoing investigation and ongoing operation. Calls received on the 15th of June, 16th Amber Alert was issued, which continues to be active at this time. CBI and Hawkins County Sheriff's Office are the lead law enforcement agencies. Churchill Rescue Squad is the lead ground search operations agency. Over 100 agencies from the eastern United States has responded to that event. I don't want to step into anybody else's arena here, so I've just listed some things that was EMA involvement, and just to note, EMA, as far as within my staff, we never lost communications on the ground. I've got AT&T FirstNet phones deployed with everybody in my department. I was out of town when the event first happened and was able to stay in contact with my employees on the ground continuously throughout that in the initial few days. The command trailer communications unit was deployed. It was for 13 days. All of our vehicles are being used to move equipment, supplies, personnel, including our UTV. We use that UTV to deploy canine teams deep within those woods, so those dogs tire out when the environment's as hot as it was outside there at those events. We'd load those canines over that side by side with their handler, and we'd get them deep into the woods, so they didn't have to start from the roadway. That way those dogs didn't tire out as quickly. We deployed an incident management team from the region. Nearly every EMA director and operations leader from the region was at that scene at some point. Those that weren't there were in phone contact with us for any reason for the search operation or daily operations to give them a call. I'm proud of how that went, how smoothly that went. District Task Force was deployed. I served as overall EMA leader, point of contact for county government, logistics. Caleb served as operation officer for the majority of the event. Randy was used within logistics during that complete event. Just an interesting fact of how much an event like that costs and the resources that are required in that. We used nearly 400 gallons of fuel just during that operation, and that continues as we're being deployed for a day operation here or there. There was obviously some communications issues in the initial couple of days of that event that was reported by media. EMA along with 911 assisted in deploying 3 SALs into that event, which was AT&T's FirstNet, Verizon, and Tennessee Advanced Communication Network. I'll let some of the other agencies speak on exactly what they ran into the first couple of days. But some of the neighboring counties gave us radios to use with that Tennessee Advanced Communication Network SAL while it was being deployed.
911.
I'll be quick. We're continuing to work with the ad hoc committee on the possibility of a backup 911 center. the search in Beach Creek, we logged over 1,000 additional man hours with the mobile communications trailer. That doesn't include the dispatchers that were actually at the district working. We determined once we arrived on scene there that communications was going to be a problem with the phones and the radios. The 911 district is a foundation agency with FirstNet, so we immediately requested that they deploy a site on wheels. They generally require about a 24-hour response time for that, and they were on scene within 12 hours of us requesting that. So that anybody that had AT&T service or FirstNet, that gave them service at the search site. Radios were also an issue. We tried to do some patching with Hawkins County Rescue Squad with their communications trailer and their event repeater, but that was on the same band, VHF, so we couldn't do that. It was causing some problems. So we requested that TAC can deploy a site on wheels as well, and they deployed that and actually put it in Beach Creek. TEMA and Sullivan County EMA provided us with a cache of approximately 50 radios to hand out to the responders that were on scene. If it hadn't been for them providing those radios, we would have been in a mess in Beach Creek. We would have had no communications with all these people. So if we get to the point of looking at purchasing radios, that's something that we need to look at, is having a cache on hand for events like this. And I think that's about all I have.
For year-to-date, Church of Rescue Squad has ran a total of 224 dispatch calls to us. Of those 224 dispatch calls, 97 of those have been EMS assist, 2 fire standbys. They ran 32 first responder calls with the EMS since implementing that program, 80 motor vehicle wrecks, 2 search and rescues, 5 water rescue, and 6 other. Of those, year to date, we have logged 9,583 man hours and a total of 7,021 miles driven. Of those, obviously a hot topic was the summerwells search. Church of Rescue Squad logged a total, as of right now, this number has continued to grow as we work off and on during the search, 2,648 man hours. That was just our agency alone. If you put that in kind of perspective, not just the man hours, the national average for a volunteer value is $28.54 per person per hour. So just our agency logged $75,573.92 worth of services, one call. 13 days, we provided $75,000 worth of services for free. At this search, we ended up receiving 120 different agencies, 1,194 ground searchers that did not include the command post, logistics, or law enforcement. We covered approximately 4.6 square miles and a little over 3,000 acres of the Beach Creek community from Ben Hill out. This occurred over 13 days. Just our agency alone, at this time I have actively 33 members on my roster. Of those 33, I have 25 actively involved in search operations. One thing I want to reiterate to this group, especially being the voice for all these agencies represented here and aren't able to be here, you guys should be proud of these agencies that you have in this county. For a few of the county commissioners, Mr. Roach, Hannah Weiniger, a few of them that were able to stop by that I was able to see. I know there were several that I wasn't able to see that stopped by. These agencies worked flawlessly. There was never an ill word. There was never an argument. We worked flawlessly for 13 days. It wasn't me. It wasn't Corey. It wasn't the sheriff. It wasn't TBI. It was us as a county, outside the county, and also nationwide from other states. With including that, I personally want to express our gratitude for the businesses in our area, and outside our area, churches and other organizations, and also Hawkins County Rescue Squad for taking the lead on the logistics side of it. For 13 days, these searchers never had to wonder if they were going to have water, food. We had everything from socks, ibuprofen, sunscreen, bug spray, additional clothes, additional gear. We had everything that they would plausibly need to make sure these guys stayed safe. And Hawkins County Rescue Squad took a large chunk of that responsibility and ran with it. Corey, assistant operations Tim Lewis and his wife Sandra. I kept telling Sandra she was a real MVP. She orchestrated every meal, food, supplies. I never want, she never had, she asked her a question, never had to ask her anything. When I walked out of the command post, it was there. It was taken care of. But that was very beneficial. And of course, one thing that it kind of Jamie hit on, and also Lynn. One thing this county really needs to, and Jamie in his office has put timeless hours into the radio system. If it wasn't for Hawkins County having their mobile event repeater they were able to deploy there at the command post, we wouldn't have had radio communications hardly at all the first night. At one point, we were actually moving one of our rescue squad vehicles on Ben Hill, because at one point we'd have radio communication with Central Dispatch, at one point we wouldn't. They deployed that assisted greatly. Orchestrated right there close to the command post and on the Ben Hill Road, very spotty limited radio communication. With the assistance of, like Jamie stated, Sullivan County, the state bringing in an attacking SAL that was deployed there at the Joint Information Center where all the media was staged at. At that point, I believe we only had 1 or 2 areas that we had issues with radio communication, and it was as simple as those groups would literally step to the side, move a couple feet, up down the hill somewhere, and the dispatchers then provided, we had radio communication with everybody. And I don't know what all everybody here has done as a career, but when I took my position at Church of Rescue Squad's captain, one of my main responsibilities is the safety of my people. I had no issue knowing that I knew not only my people, those 1,194 searchers that were there, law enforcement included, I knew where they were at, and I had accountability of them. The TACN system, that is something this county needs to look into. I understand there's a dollar sign there, but I do not believe any of you guys standing right here put a dollar sign on one person's safety and what that one person's worth. If you've not been through Beach Creek and pulled off Beach Creek Road and pulled on the Ben Hill Road, Fields Road, Bell Road, any of those roads through there and start looking at terrain, one ill step, seriously injured or killed. And we had 1,194 people searching that area. So, guys, I can't stress enough. I don't want to go to one of my members. I'm sure Hawkins County Sheriff's Department, Rescue Squad, EMS, you guys don't want to have to make that door knock on the phone going, your child's father, mother, brother, sister, they're not coming home because of lack of communication and safety for these guys that are doing this as a volunteer for free. With that being said, I know there's been a large question on what type of detrimental effect financially did the summerwells search have on my agency. I can't say it had a detrimental effect for the simple fact is we won't end in the red and we'll continue to provide the service we provide. One thing this is going to do is it's going to take away from these members training, equipment, and also some of the critical infrastructure issues that we are having at our agency. A frontline rescue truck that had catastrophic engine failure, that's now having to be pushed back a little bit. Our parking lot, access and egress to the back part of our bays, and also the HVAC units. But I would like to say on that, with our frontline rescue truck, once again, Hawkins County, the night that happened, provided our agency with the rescue truck. I continually tell them, guys, we're trying to work, we're trying to get to where you guys can have that back. And I was told until I have that truck replaced, for sure, that truck's to stay in Churchill. That alone will not be able to ever be repaid to them. And that is greatly appreciative of that agency. Yes, sir.
Prior to this, when we had the communications meetings,
Yes, sir.
there was a gentleman here from TACN.
Yes, sir.
And with the DMR, he stated that we had like 78% coverage.
Mm-hmm.
In his own words, he said if we added TACN, we would only get maybe 80%.
That 80% kept my searchers out of state and the people here locally safe.
I'll address that, if that's all right with you, Tim.
Go ahead.
What we talked about there in my presentation was DMR. We're getting into a different system here, which is TACking, which was also presented during the initial radio conversations. TACking owns their own frequencies. They're not limited. TACking can be built out as big as you can afford to build it out. They can provide that if you have one spot that doesn't have coverage, you're willing to spend the money to fix that site or that area, that they can fix it, but that comes at a great cost. And their flexibility there is on their own frequency. So some of those numbers were by how much money we were willing to put into that system. But it also gives advancements in the future. In 10 years, if you decide to build that site, or if they decide to build that site, they have frequencies to do it.
Thank you, Jim.
I'm gonna go ahead and say, I really appreciate everything all Liberty has done, but, I mean, county commission, I mean, I feel like every time something happens, we start getting blamed for radio. And the way I look at it, we can't do nothing for radios until we see a resolution or something come in front of us to decide on what to do on the radio. And I mean, I don't know, how come we always get a finger pointed at us? I mean, we have done everything that we're supposed to do that we've seen in front of us so far.
Absolutely, and if I elaborate on that,
Yeah.
my statements that I made is pointing no blame. This is just providing you additional information that you guys don't see. I mean, like I said, in Beach Creek, I'm just providing you information saying, hey, this system works. There's no point in blame. This is additional information, reaching out.
Well,
We can't do it on our own. We're trying to come to the commission to say, hey, help us. We're not pointing blame. I don't think any agency here would point a finger at any one of you guys or any one of them when every one of these seats are filled. This is just providing information to help you guys make the right decision for us.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that statement. And, I mean, I've sat here and I've listened to part of you, but I mean, as a county commissioner myself, I mean, the issue at hand right now is summerwells.
Absolutely.
And nobody has given us an update on her since I've been here today.
Absolutely.
Would you like to do that, or?
What update I can give you from speaking with local law enforcement, Lieutenant wouldn't want to elaborate. My agency at Search Operations, we know no more than we did on day 13 we scaled back operations, other than the fact that she is missing. And we are assisting local, state, and federal resources and agencies to whatever they may need. We don't know. If I had the information and I was at liberty to tell you, I would tell you today. If I knew where she was at, she'd done been back 13, June 15th. I mean, and that's the thing we keep getting is want updates. I mean, I have updated the media outlets locally, all the way to Nashville, all the way to New York, on the national news level. I've updated everybody to everything that I know. And like I said, I wish I could give you more. So that you ask how you guys can help us. One, continue support. I request and ask all these individuals here, and also the rest of the county commission, not only to visit my agency, go visit the rest of the agencies. See what stuff they have to provide. Go talk to them. Instead of us sitting here doing what we just done over issues, some people just can't get up in front of people and discuss an issue. Some people just don't have that ability. Go to where they're comfortable. Let's figure out where our weaknesses are, where we can become stronger all together. The additional thing to that would be, and I've spoke to several commissioners in roundabouts ways about how they could help. Would be my agency and also Hawkins County City being provided that additional $11,000 the volunteer agency are getting on the annual contribution. I know Hawkins County asked for more than that. I know my agency asked for more than that. But that alone will help tremendously. I know my agency will help tremendously. The additional funding and that's where we'd like your guys'
Because I'm proud of you, right quick. I'm assuming you've never had to deal with anything like you had to deal with news media and TBI and everything else. Right? You probably never had to deal with any of this stuff like
Not on that level. I've dealt with it, but not on that level.
I watched you, like I said, and I was proud of all you guys, but I was proud of you, man. I really was. And I told me your people that, especially when I first seen the news there. I said, Coach, you're good. I see you were very well spoken. I want you to know, I was proud of you for you did good. You did good. And I at one point there, I was watching you, and I actually thought to myself, how hard would that be to have to get up in front of people on the news, knowing everybody's seeing you, and say, I don't have anything good to tell you. And I felt sorry for you, too. I did, man. I felt sorry for you. I'm proud of you. Now, like I said, I'm proud of all the agencies and everything they've done, but I felt sorry for you, man. But I think you've done a good job. In case nobody else did, you've done good.
I very appreciate it. Like I said before, it wasn't just me, it was all these guys.
Yeah.
Like I said, you guys should be proud of every one of us.
Thank you. A lot of stuff on the Ben Hill Road has been covered, but I'll kind of go over it real quick. Our agency involvement. So we were requested on the 15th of June, shortly after Churchill was notified. They requested our agency to respond with our side-by-side, our mobile command trailer. So we responded initially with 13 members, like I said, around 7 o'clock. The search was suspended about 4 that morning, and we were back up there around 7 o'clock and started again. And 13 days later, we had members there throughout the whole thing, and Churchill tasked our agency with the logistics section. So we had one of our members, Sandra, and her husband, Tim. They really took off with that. When we asked for something, we got like 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 more than what we had asked for, and it just kept coming in. We had to get enclosed trailers in there to store the stuff, freezers. We had stuff stored at Churchill, stuff stored at our station. We had stuff all over the place. But we basically had a Walmart up there, if you will. I mean, we had everything from socks to food to medicine. We had everything that anybody could imagine. And several of the people that come in from the outside, and you guys should be proud of this, they said they've never seen anything like that before in anything they've ever been to all over the United States. So I think that's something to be proud of for the first responders that we have here in the county. So as far as the search, our 13-day involvement, and like Tim mentioned, that's going to continue to grow if we get reactivated. But we logged 2,185 man hours. That has a value based upon the 2001 average of a volunteer of $62,359.90 worth of man hours that we put into that. Approximately 1,500 miles driven, and the reason for that was going to area counties to get supplies, and we also used a utility trailer that we have that our Rangers, our side-by-side is hauled on to haul personnel to the drop locations throughout the search. So Tim Lewis done a lot of that, hauling crews and stuff all over the Beach Creek area and picking them up. So we have a bunch of equipment that was committed to that search. Four-wheel drive Suburbans, our communication trailer. As it was mentioned, our event repeater was used initially. We continue to use that throughout the event for the transportation units that were picking it up. So we worked tying up that main channel that was being used by the search crews. So that was used throughout the whole event. And we continue to stay in contact. Me and Tim talk almost daily, sometimes hourly. And we have equipment ready to respond if there was a reactivation with food and supplies that we would need to go back up there. So we have all that ready, as well as our members. So does anybody have any questions on our involvement with the Ben Hill search?
I guess I have one problem. I know the sheriff's office, I think, was the one that did it. They were advising people a lot of people not to come and mess the tracking system up, I'll put it that way.
Right.
But at the same time, the county commission was criticized for not being there.
Do you want to address that?
Yeah, I can elaborate on that. So it may be just strictly a little bit of confusion. It wasn't that we didn't want the county commission there. There was like I stated, there were several county commissions that showed up there. What we were requesting, not the community to be involved, other people other than these trained personnel, the agencies were requested, was for the actual search operations itself. for a couple different reasons. One, yes, the skilled teams, the canines that were in there, we had to be very tactful on where we deployed people, when we deployed them. And not only that, there was no public land of where we were at. So when you start bringing people outside of here other than emergency services who have permission, who have consent to be on these areas searching, and one person finds out, well, so-and-so was with them and they're not involved in it, they're just a civilian coming in, we don't want the interaction. It takes away from what we originally were for. That was to find summerwells. So it had nothing to do with not wanting these people there. The county commissioners, the other county officials, we had people from the bus shop there providing us a bus to transport people back and forth. Several other offices, the county offices, come by, drop off food, hang out, talk, pray with us. The command post itself, I mean, if you were involved in this county or outside this county in emergency services, or the county itself was more than welcome to. And I apologize if that was taken or confused or taken the wrong way. It was just we didn't want anybody from the outside to set back for these search operations itself.
Well, it was on the phone that, you know, a lot of commissioners didn't get a lot of support from commissioners, but I also know some people that go to church there at Carmen, where the command post was.
Yes, sir.
I believe.
Yes, sir.
And they were telling us they didn't want people in there at the time. Because of the fact, you know, that Mester, and I guess they were saying that they didn't want them there doing the search.
Yes.
You know, like you're saying, it might have been good to come by the command post and offer your support.
Absolutely, and then like I said, and that was another thing. The church there where we had the command post.
Yeah.
That's another favor my agency or this county as a whole can never put a money value on.
I know.
And those people that went to that church were there, provided us food, they provided us everything. Like I said, those people were phenomenal, and it was strictly just for the search operation.